into things. Let's start the recording for the Tube. Say hi, Tube.
What up, Tube?
What's up, Tube?
What's going on, Tube? Alrighty, and last but certainly not least, we've been given the rundown.
Your rundown done.
You ready to rock and roll?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go for the pod in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to another episode of
Business Bros. I love
What
it.
up, ladies and gents? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
So, Hernanci is here, host of the Business Bros podcast, along with my co-host.
The insurance bro, James C.S. with Pipeline Insurance. It must be Friday.
Must be Friday,
which means that we have an awesome show planned for y'all today. Really excited about this, and we got a chance to meet this gentleman at our beach cleanup day that we partnered up with Clint and Eric. Andre.
Eric was there too.
And what was Home Point?
Home Inspection Company?
Home Inspection Company. There you go. Anyways, had a chance to meet up with those guys over there and meet today's guest. So, really cool conversation we had. This gentleman is approaching pest control from an educational and green perspective. So we're out here trying to save the environment as well. So, with Cal Coast Pest Management, please welcome Michael Keith.
Hey, everybody. How you guys doing?
Thanks so much for joining us, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. This is a really good experience, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
It's definitely going to be a lot of fun because we get to do a little bit of a different show than we're normally used to. So stay tuned for that, ladies and gents. Before we get started, real quick reminder, 365 pairs of shoes by the end of the year is what we're shooting for. We're at 210 pairs. So if you have new shoes, used shoes, or you want to donate cash to help us get to that 365 goal, hit James up, 619-884-0045 or james at csfirst.com, and he'll hop on his Harley right over there and pick them up. 36 pairs of shoes is the most that he's gotten in one load on that bike. So let's see if you can top him off there.
Low ad.
All right.
Sorry.
Here we go. You ready?
Let's do this.
Rats, I
Here
forgot.
it is.
I'm just kidding.
Rats.
That was a pun. See that?
Oh my god. The dad jokes never stop.
They never end.
The dad jokes never end.
All right, Michael. We got to meet a little bit at the beach. Tell the listeners a little bit about yourself. What was it? What were you doing prior to the pest control company?
Well, I did a bunch of different types of jobs. I did, a lot of landscaping. I did recycling. I worked at a vivarium. I went to school because my dad was in the military, and I was able to obtain, I think it was called Chapter 37 or 35. I was getting a salary every month, and they were paying for my tuition. So I took advantage of that, and I went to school, and I didn't really know what I was trying to do. I was just doing a bunch of different types of electives, and I just didn't really know what to do. I was just kind of in limbo.
That's kind of cool, though. The government's paying you to figure it out.
Right, but I couldn't figure it out myself. So they were giving me the opportunity to figure it out, but I was still not able to figure it out. I wasn't sure exactly what I was trying to do. All my life, I didn't really know what my calling was. And so one day, I was a big fan of King of the Hill. And my favorite character was Dale Gribble. That dude was hilarious. And I used to binge watch it. And then I was taking a chemistry course, and one of my majors was landscaping technology. And I was taking a course that pertained chemicals, products, whatever term you want to use. And so I was watching an episode where he was like repelling pigeons. And I was like, okay. And I saw pest control where I passed by, and I never really thought about doing pest control. Never came into my mind. And I was like, let me look to see how much they make. So I went online, and they saw that they were making, enough for me to persuade myself to want to
check it out.
Check it out, definitely. So I went to a couple of different companies. Come to find out, a lot of these companies, they were mostly about numbers, doing 21 stops a day, see how many you can do, customer service, webbing. Like, it was just very vague. They wanted us to be in and out. And I was finding out that this is something that I really liked. I was very thorough with webbing, thorough with treatment. I was reading labels. I was doing a couple other things. And so I didn't work out at these other companies, and I landed with a bigger company. It was a corporate company, and there was just too much politics in there. There's too much things that I wasn't really accustomed to. I'm not accustomed to kind of like, hey, I'm your friend, but behind your back, I'm not your friend. I don't want you to succeed. So I didn't really make it there. So they got rid of me, literally, I just started doing my own thing. I just went to the county. Got my fictitious name, got with my partner, Joey. And 4 months later, we got all the paperwork, all the documentations needed. And we were able to start our own business.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not something I would have normally gone into. I would be worried about red tape, chemical use, all these different things. But it seems like you kind of got an idea of what you didn't want to do in those other companies and kind of got a clear understanding of what you did want to do when you started your own.
Yeah. Like I said, sometimes when you feel something is right or you feel passionate about something and you just want to continue to pursue that specific thing that you're doing, I mean, to me, it's one of those things where there's no one to stop you anymore. I mean, there's no question, there's no ifs, there's no ands, there's no buts, there's no what it can happen. None of that goes into, at least myself, and that specific transition. And so to me, I never thought about failure, never, not once. I thought success, independent, doing the right things, giving. And these are all natural things that I felt. I just never put it into mind until recently. Recently, I was able to find out who I really am, what I really want to do, who I want to make happy, not really know who I don't want to make happy. I really want everyone to be happy. I want everybody to know that they have the capability to do anything that they want. But when you're passionate about something, when you feel it in your heart and other people feel that energy and other people feel that you are the guy, I mean, that says a lot of things.
Heck yeah. I mean, I think what you're talking about for us anyways was vision. Well, speaking of vision, did we lose something? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
There we go.
And that, thank you.
So, when James and I were talking this week, actually, we were always talking about having that vision, knowing exactly where you wanted to go. And to me, it sounds like once you started your company, you're like, I know exactly where I'm going. So that's not to say that you didn't have obstacles in your way or you didn't run into roadblocks, but you knew that those were temporary things. These are obstacles that you were gonna overcome. Because, you know, one of the things I tell my students, for example, is you don't fail until you quit. Mm-hmm. Like if you quit, you failed. Everything else, you can fall down, you can trip, you can get into, run into a wall, but you can go over, you can go under, you can go around, you can figure out what's going to happen. And as long as you keep going towards the direction that you want to go and towards your vision, it's not failure, it's learning. You're just learning one more step. You're learning one more thing. Every time you learn a new product, that product is a problem at the beginning, not because it doesn't work, but because you don't understand it. And once you understand it, now it's an asset, now it's a tool, now it's something you use.
Right. And so failure to me, it's a part of life, so I embrace failure when it's there. So for example, like if I'm going into doing something and there's a high possibility that failure is something that could potentially happen, I don't run away from it. I've learned to deal with it, because dealing with something that you don't know, that's what creates something more different, that creates vulnerability on your end. And so vulnerability on my end is something that I like to embrace. So if that is something that is going to potentially happen to me, I'm not going to let it stop me. I'm going to continue to move forward. And then when it does happen to me, how do I come out of it?
Yeah.
Like, what do you do? Do you just walk away from it, or do you confront it? How does that suit you? How is that suiting you in your life, that every single time you fail or you think about failing, how has that suited you?
So I'm going to ask you a double question. So, once you started your business, what are some of the biggest obstacles you saw in trying to grow it? And then were you always that way, where you didn't fit, where you were walking towards, a problem, or were you ever at a point in your life where you're like, nah, like I'm good. I'm not going that way.
So, kind of like I could be a very stubborn person. So meaning that if failure is something that's there, I'm stubborn enough to just continue to do it anyways. I just never put two and two together. I never understood like the concept of a good thing, a concept of good failure being a good thing, until recently. Before I was just like this stubborn, like if I fail, whatever, I don't care. I'll figure it out. And it was just a really different type of mentality. But nonetheless, even before I didn't have a direction. I didn't have a vision. I didn't have a goal. I just specifically thought one certain aspect, and that aspect was just go, and I'm all alone. I don't care about asking for help. I don't care about wanting to really connect with people. I'm just going to pursue what I'm doing because I want to. It was just
a very selfish point of view.
Yeah, the intention was very selfish.
So what are a couple things that you struggled with in your business? Like when you're first getting started, I mean, nobody starts, very, very few people start a business and then boom, they're successful right away.
Right.
Like, everybody has to come across and figure out some things that, I didn't know that this was going to be an issue. Like I didn't know hiring people was going to be this hard, or finding the right person, or doing the invoicing, or what is it about your business that you think was the hardest thing to get over?
Ego.
Ooh, that's a great answer. Tell me a little bit about that. Why?
So I have a partner. His name is Joey Carroll. So we both have the exact same amount of passion, except we're both chiefs. So
2 alpha dogs?
Yeah. And so we were clashing heads a whole lot. Like, this is the way I want to do it. This is the way he's doing it. My way is better, but not really verbally saying, but showing it on body language. And like the intention was ego. Like you can feel the intention without even saying it. Sometimes you can just feel a person with their intention. Both their intentions were, this is the way I want to do it.
How did you guys overcome that?
So recently, like I was telling you guys a little earlier, I took a emotional intelligence course with his name is called Choice Center. And so when I went there, I was pushed, not pushed in, I was told by a really good friend of mine named Dominic Cruz. He's a UFC bantamweight champ, ex-UFC, well, going to be the UFC bantamweight champ.
Nice.
And so good luck. Yeah, right. Hey, Dom. So I was doing pest control at his house, and he was asking me a bunch of questions, and I couldn't figure out an answer to those questions. And he was like, take this course, man. This course will really help out as far as getting the tools you need to make better decisions and control some of his emotions to a more positive aspect. And so I'm like, and the key word was that will help your business. So I'm like, well, okay,
right, sold.
So exactly, I'm like, well, helping my business, perfect. I'm gonna do it. And when I took the course, I've come to find out that there was a lot of things that I was holding back. There was a lot of walls that I put up. There was a lot of masks that I was, bestowing to people. And so I had to get out of that comfort zone. And so I had to get out of that state of mind, even comfort zone. So that university really did help giving me the tools to make better decisions as far as like the intentions and the way I perceive life and the way I perceive myself and the way I perceive my business, because helping myself helps my business, because my business is me, I'm my business. So the way I carry myself, that's the way that people are going to perceive my business. And so I had to find deep down inside of myself to find out exactly who I really am, how I really feel about people, and what true love really is. Because true love is just a word that people just say. There's no intent behind it. You say, I love you, but where's that energy? Where's the intent? Sometimes it wasn't there. So it was just words. So now I'm able to articulate the word love with energy and compassion. And that I'm compassionate with my customers. I'm compassionate with people that are in need. I'm compassionate with pretty much anybody that is required love or is the wanting that type of love or that type of compassion.
How does that help with your partner? How's that improved or?
It improved because I let ego go. So there was no ego. There was more intentions. So my intentions. And I declared to be a better partner. I declared to be a better person. And I declared to just unite with him. And so, in my opinion, because of that mindset that I had, it really did help come together. Because when fire with fire doesn't work.
Right.
So if he's acting a certain way, if he's very irate about something, and I stay calm and collective, then my energy that I give to him and that love that I give to him, he's going to receive it. And he's going to not only receive it, but he's going to give it out as well. And so, intention. It
makes all the difference in the world. Yeah. We talk about it as responsibility, your ability to respond to a situation. Right. So at any time, a problem can happen, and it may be your fault, it may not be your fault. It doesn't matter whose fault it is, but how you respond to that situation will determine the outcome of where it's going to go. Right. And so if you responded, if you didn't go to this emotional EQ type university training, it could have resulted in your business not succeeding. Not because you're not good at what you're doing, just because you're not growing as an individual, which means you're not growing with your partner, which means your company's going to stall.
Exactly.
So that's awesome. Well, speaking of improving your company, we sat down and talked quite a bit at the beach cleanup.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about like what that experience was like and what you got out of it.
Well, what I got out of it is connections and building relationships. So, for example, I never thought I would be doing a beach clean out, first of all. I've never thought I would be doing that, but I got out of my comfort zone. I did it. So that right there was rewarding in itself to help the community in that aspect, because kids, families, etc. People go out to the beach and they want to feel comfortable at the beach. They want to experience something beautiful, natural sand, water, etc., barbecue, whatever. So to go out there and help the community clean up trash, just to show the intention of helping our Mother Earth and our community, it was very rewarding in itself. Not only that, but just the connections that I got with with you guys and with Clint and with Eric, and I think it was a Class C Movers or something like that. I can't remember the other people that were there. But
yeah, there was a movie company.
Guys.
Sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, just the connection that I got, that I was able to have with them was very powerful, because when it's all said and done, having a business, building connections, building relationships, that's huge. It's a big thing. And I'm learning that sometimes it's not about what you get out of them as far as clients, but it's building connections. And so what I got out of it is the connections that I built with everybody that was there, including you guys.
What about the social media game?
I'm still kind of new with the social media. You gave me some really good insight on that, a different perspective, a different outlook in it that I'm definitely want to venture out. So that's what I did get out of it as far as the social media.
Do you remember what that info was?
It was the GoPro, going inside crawl spaces, going inside attics to see if just to give people an insight of what we do and what we see. And normally we see rats. Yes, people, rats.
Right? Well, yeah, and simply put, it was like, it would be awesome, because you guys always get that question, right? Hey, what's the most disgusting thing, or what's the craziest thing you've seen?
Oh, yeah.
Right? You get that question all the time.
Yep.
And so the advice I gave them was, well, why don't you show people that stuff? When you open up a wall and it's full of roaches, like, you see it, but if your GoPro sees it, then your audience sees it. You talk about, what you see. You're talking about how you're fixing things. You're showing everybody what it is that you're already doing.
Right.
And then they see it. First of all, they're going to click on it because they're like, oh, I want to see. But then they're also seeing that it's you providing the service. It's you showing them what's going on. It's you also showing them the solutions to what's going on and the reason why you use this product or the reason why you use this trap. And you become the expert in that field.
Right.
And then when it comes time to they have an infestation or they have something they need to call, they're going to be like, oh, I know exactly who to call. They're just going to look on their Instagram and be like, boom, hit you up with DM, be like, help.
I get that all the time, and I can just imagine with social media, because nowadays, the day and age that we live at now, social media that's the thing. That's communication. That's when people just want to hang out. They're like, let's hang out on social media. Let's talk. We're having a conversation on social media. You would think like before, like face to face, but people really believe that when you're messaging someone on social media, that is a full-on conversation with somebody.
It is. Well, I do face-to-faces on social media. So one of the things I like to do is when I get a friend request from somebody on Facebook, I accept it and I go in the messages, and then there's a little camera button. Hit the camera button and I hold the video down, and I tell them, hey, thanks for the Facebook friend request, really appreciate it. I call them by name. I mention what day it is so that they know that it's me, the person.
Yeah.
It's not some like pre-recorded message that I'm just dropping in there. It's me, the person. I'm telling you what day it is. You know what day it is.
Yeah.
I'm calling you by name. It's me, right? Oh, that's all right.
Hey, you can just bloop. Yeah, thank you.
There you go. So, they know exactly that's me, but it's a communication. Now they see me, they hear me, they have that communication with me. And then oftentimes they almost always respond back. Thank you, appreciate it. Or they'll even send me a video back. And now we're having a face-to-face conversation over social media.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's just another opportunity for you to connect with people. And sometimes...
Speaking of opportunities to connect with people.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Shall we gratuitously...
Oh, yes. I almost forgot. All right, ladies and gents. Yeah, that's why the producer's here. We're going to take a little time out for a commercial break.
What?
So, ladies and gents, real quick, any of you guys ever want to get solar? And if you wanted to get solar, of course, you want to sit down through 3 or 4 different presentations from people coming and selling you, right? Of course you don't. You want people climbing on your roof, right? Of course you don't. So what you want to do is contact dronequotes.net/BIZBROS. So dronequotes.net/bizbros. And what we're going to do is we're going to have them come over. They're going to take a drone shot of your roof. Nobody's going to climb on your roof. They're going to take visuals, measure that stuff out, and then they're going to send it out to different solar companies, different roofing companies. And if you're interested in getting solar, you're going to get multiple quotes come your way. It makes it easy for you to pick from one solar company to another. Quick, easy. Don't worry about being sold. Just let dronequotes.net help you buy.
And did you say that was a backslash?
/BIZBROS.
All right.
Go! And we're back.
For some reason, I want solar now.
Right? That's how it works. So what do you think? That was the first promo shot, right?
That was great.
That was good, huh?
Yeah,
Huh.
I'm sold.
Sold, see?
People, solar.
See, well, here's what I tell people all the time. And you're in the same type of business. You're in sales business.
Mm-hmm.
People want to buy. They just don't want to be sold.
Right.
Right? I heard somebody on the show, I think it was Jeff Fisher, told us that. And it just made so much sense. So I'm still in it. If it wasn't Jeff, I'm sorry, whoever said it. But I say I continuously just keep stuff in my head all the time. But that's what it is. When you sit down with a client, you're genuinely listening to their problem.
Yep.
And you're providing them value and solutions through your services. And so they end up buying. People want to buy. They just don't want to be sold.
What works for me, because I can tell you right now, I'm not a good salesman. But when I go to a customer's house and I listen, and like I said, the EQ, thank you, Choice Center, I listen. I listen way more now to the problems. I ask questions. I get deeper and deeper until I find out exactly what they really want. And so we provide a free inspection. So when they call us, they're like, we have this specific problem. Can you give us a quote? We're like, we don't give quotes over the phone, but we'll be happy to give you a free inspection. And then afterwards, we can tell you exactly what you're having issues with. I mean, where you're having issues with, some stuff that you haven't even been aware of, what we can do for you, a plan that we have for you, a one-time service. So we have options. We have to give people options. And so listening helps. And when you're out there and we do an inspection and we find out exactly what's going on, and even stuff that they've never even thought of, entry points they never even thought of, noises, etc., and we just display it to them. And it shows exactly what our intentions are. So once they have that sold, they're like, you listened, you gave me multiple prices, and you really care, and you're not a contract. So sold.
So, but let me ask you, you said you're not a good salesman, yet every single thing you described describes what a good salesperson does. Like, are you afraid to be called a salesperson, or is do you think it just has a negative stigma? Because honestly, when it comes down to sales, that's what it's about.
I guess what I'm trying to say is my intention is not a salesman mentality, like the cliche salesman, like, oh, car salesman, oh, you gotta buy this, you gotta buy that. I give them options. So my mentality is mostly to help, not to sell. It's my mental state. So that's why I say I'm not a salesman, because my state of mind and the way I am right now, the way my intentions are, is to help. So
I'm going to recommend a book to you. It's called, I think it's called Zig Ziglar on Selling. You ever heard of Zig Ziglar? You're going to like that book, because he'll tell you, first of all, he's fast paced, right? One of the greatest salesmen in the world. Wow. But he's going to tell you right off the bat, sales is not about just getting somebody to close. It's not about closing. You genuinely have a passion, and you honestly believe in your product. You have 100% believe in your product. So much that when you're hearing people's problems, you know that your product can help solve their problem.
Right.
That's it. And because you do that really, really well, you're going to sell.
Well, makes sense.
Right?
If I can jump in here also, then this is just something that I've learned for myself. I think that I'm a lot like you, where I listen and I care, and don't necessarily consider myself a good salesperson, but I've been accused multiple times. I'm all heart, right? And that's what I see in you, and that's a strength. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, and you have that. Yeah,
well, I appreciate that. And when I speak, it's something that I don't script, especially lately. It's just, when I came in here, I didn't know it. In my first podcast, I didn't think of anything. I'm just like, Let's just go.
Gonna figure it out.
Yeah, natural.
Yeah.
Right from the heart.
Well, that's because, again, what's in your heart is what you're doing. Like, you built this company. You said it earlier. You know, you're your business. Your business is you.
Yeah.
Right? So you already know what you're going to say. It's already there. The only difference is, what question am I going to ask you? If I went specific, I'm like, hey, dude, I got a big rat in my garage. I saw a nest. How do I handle that? You would have an answer for that.
Oh, easy.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of that's the whole purpose of that, right? That's, you already have that information there. The difference is, what is it that your customer wants?
Right.
Right? If you can figure that out, if you can figure out, you know, they're thinking, you know, she's thinking it's rats or whatever, but you're seeing, no, man, your problem is crickets. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, or whatever it is, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But you can see, you can continuously ask those questions to get to the root of the problem.
Right.
And you have the solution. You don't need a script, because it is who you are.
Right. And you know what helps out too? It's, you know, because I follow a lot of like rheumatologists and ophthalmologists, and I read a lot of books. I'm taking a course at Purdue University. And I tend to really follow education a lot, you know, anatomy, reproductive cycles, identification, because sometimes you see a specific type of bug and you think, okay, that's it. But if you really look closely, there's different types of bugs that have different characteristics and different habits. So misidentification, it's really bad, because if you're the type of guy that use a lot of like products, or in other words, chemicals, a misapplication could cost a lot. It can make matters even worse. So identification is a really big thing.
So see, I'm going to go back to that whole social media thing.
Yeah.
Anytime, this is what I tell my students all the time. I'm like, you think you've learned something until you try to teach it to somebody. You don't know what you don't know until you try to teach it to somebody. So here's what I recommend for you. I mean, you already have, if you implement the GoPro thing, that's going to be clickbait for sure. Hey, clickbait, right? So that's going to be clickbait for sure.
That
right?
was good.
People are going to click on those because they want to see the stuff that you see. But the information that you provide is much more important. Like, if you were, there's these little, or I should say, in the summer, there's those big ass, they look like mosquitoes, but they're not mosquitoes. Right? And so people are always asking, like, what the heck are these things? And they're like, they freak you out. They're pretty big bugs.
Crane flies.
There you go. See? But if you were to come on and say, look, you see these guys? This is what they are. This is how you get rid of them. This is how they reproduce. This is the best place. Like, you're providing that information and you're teaching somebody. You're emphasizing what you've already learned in class, and now you're emphasizing it and really teaching it. Once you can teach it to people, you really do know it. That's when you internalize it.
Yeah, and that's where like the confidence comes in as well. That's the boost. You know, that's once you get that confidence, you feel like you're on top of the world.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because one of the things I've said before, it's, you know, I teach math, and it's not really about the 1 + 1 = 2.
Right.
That's great. But what I really like to see is when I give you a piece of information and it clicks in your head, like, I'm going to do that. Like that life-changing click moment.
Oh, yeah.
That is what I thrive on.
Yeah.
Like that's really that's the aha moments that I love to have.
Yeah.
Like when we were sitting down at the beach and I was like, dude, this is what you should do on your social media feed. Yeah. And I saw it. I saw the click in your eyes, like, that's a good idea, right? That is what, those are the moments that I love, right? Yeah. That's the stuff that really pushes me. You can have that same feeling with all of your audience and all your existing clients.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, imagine every single client that you have, right? They're going to be following you. And you're also providing them information. This is what I learned at this place. By the way, the best way to maintain your place like this so that you don't have to call us back so often, this is what you should do. Will most people do that? Probably not. No. So they're going to hit you up again. But at least they're going to be like, I know you told me I should have done this. I didn't. But can you help me out again?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you're providing them that information consistently.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. We tend to not, as of late, we've been getting more like ants. Like people are invaded with ants.
Oh yeah.
And right now I've been noticing a lot. They call them big-headed ants. They're different types of sizes, and their immune system is very, very strong, and they reproduce very quickly. And they tend to nest inside the house. They tend to have mounds, and they're very persistent and very aggressive. And so right now we're having issues with that, but we get to revitalize methods of treatment. So, you know, baiting is different types of bait of accepted. Some ants, they don't accept specific type of bait, so you have to use different types of bait. You have to use certain type of pyrethroids. You have to use certain type of granules. You have to use dust in between the walls. Like you get to do all of that. So we get to explore different methods because your Argentina that you see every day, yeah, you can use a non-repellent around the foundation or specific areas where they're nesting at. But there's certain ants that's it's not going to work. That's why I'm talking about misidentification. Some people are like, ants use this spray. We call them spray jockeys, guys that are out there just spraying your house, and that's it.
But it makes the customer feel better. It doesn't actually solve the customer's problem.
No, and a lot of times those guys get away because they have built that relationship. So again, because they see them consistent. Sometimes companies have one specific technician in certain specific areas, and so the customer already gets used to that same person coming over and over, and they have a personality, talk, and everything. But are they really taking care of that problem for them? Not. Their intention is to literally just talk and leave.
They're not healing the wound. They're just putting a Band-Aid.
There's Band-Aids. That's all they do. Band-Aids, Band-Aids, and Band-Aids.
See, and this is where for me, if my Instagram, that's what I would be putting stuff like that and be like, look, is your guy coming in regularly? He shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
This is how you solve the problem.
Exactly.
Inspection. Oh, yeah, because you're going to put yourself out of business.
Yeah.
but people still like consistency. They still, even though you solve their problem, they're forever grateful. They're like, I have this lady in Chula Vista. She went through like 5 different companies, and then she went with us, and she was she's very eccentric, first of all, and then second of all, she was very weary. She had a very trust issues because people have done her dirty around her own life, and now pest control has done her that way too. But she had an infestation of rats inside her house. I mean, and we're nesting inside the couches. You see them running around the walls. I mean, around the foundation, around the inside. They're nesting in the walls. You see them outside. When you see rats during the daytime, that means there's an overpopulation. There's nowhere to nest, so they're just running around now. And so what we came up with, we did an inspection for her. We recommended a garage guy, which he fixed a garage. I recommended a buddy of mine from Cal Coast Building and Repairs. He's a licensed contractor. That guy is amazing. His name is Noe Marquina. He is amazing. That dude used to be a pest control guy, so he does like rodent proofing.
He sees both sides.
Yes, man. I mean, this guy is he's like my guru. And so I brought him out there. He was able to close stuff up, and then so we implemented what we call prebaiting, where you manipulate the traps to thinking that it's set, but it's really not, and then you put an attractant in there. And we usually like to use Slim Jim because there's a lot of fat and it has a strong smell. So what they do is, rats are very intelligent. So they're alpha rats, and then the juvenile rats, they're barely learning. They don't know much. So if they've already nested and we're growing up in that specific environment, they don't have any life experience. So they're more gullible. But what you do is you set the trap, right? And you manipulate it to think that it's set. And so what the rats do, and then I have cameras too. They call them game cameras. We put game cameras. So what they do, you'll see sometimes bigger alpha rats. They'll get up on 2. They'll look at the juveniles, and the juveniles will go and they'll go at it right away. Then you see the big rat, just push them out the way and get it. There's times where you see rats get like sticks and throw it or push it and do crazy stuff. So when you prebait it and you look at that, you look at behavior, because they're very intelligent. They're adaptable creatures. And they're also neophobic. So anything that's new, they're really scared of that stuff. So they tend to do that. So we prebait until we see that the rat is literally just going for it without having to trying to see if it gets triggered.
Because it knows that that's good food.
Exactly. So now when we see that, we're like, okay, it's time to set it. So when we set it, it goes right to him. Boink, gets him. And we want to get the alphas, the alpha male, alpha female, because those are the ones that have the life experience. Those are the ones that are going to keep reproducing. You know, those are the ones that are going to manipulate the whole surroundings. And those are the ones that I've done restaurants before where it has taken me months to get one rat, because they have really good muscle memory and they will know that place better than you. Even though you've been there for years, they'll know it better than you. They will move away from the traps. They will just go for specific foods. They'll go for condensation behind the refrigerator. They'll go for water. They go for any grease or anything like that. Sometimes when restaurants are very unsanitary, that's haven for them. Even though you leave the door open and you're scaring it, they won't run out because they know that this consistency. So it's very difficult.
Crazy, dude. Reminds me of like Ratatouille, dude.
Yeah.
They're smart.
Yeah. I wish they can cook like one. Right? I'll eat it.
Then you might keep them around.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, you're worth keeping there, buddy.
You bring value, you can stay.
Yeah. Man, I have so many stories like of nightmares, like pest nightmares, from roaches to rodents to moths to ants. I mean, you name it. I've been there, done that. Bed bugs.
This is a perfect time. I want you to tell the camera, because you're going to start putting stuff on your Instagram, right? So I want you to tell the camera real quick. I know this is out of order. We still have to do the Ask the Bros. But tell the camera how they can get a hold of you. And you got your Instagram right there. Tell them what you're going to be posting on there.
So for anybody that's watching, you're going to be seeing me with GoPro inside crawl spaces. If you ever wondered what's in the crawl space, don't worry. You'll be able to see it through my lens. You're going to see most of everything that you wanted to see or you didn't want to see, but the back of your mind, you're like, I want to see it, but I don't. Okay, just a little peek. So I'll give you the little peek. So to find me, it's calcoastpestmanagement.com. You can also find me on Instagram, on Cal Coast Pest. We also have a Facebook account. You can find me on Michael Keith on Twitter. And then we also have a Yelp account. We're not very active on that. We have a Thumbtack. We have Home Advisor. You can call me directly. You can call my partner Joey. I mean, we have many ways for you guys to get a hold of us. So, and you guys are going to see a lot more of what goes on in my day-to-day life as far as man versus the other pest. I say other pest is another company that's called that, so I say other pest. So stay tuned, people.
Boom. And we're gonna help them step up on their social media game. So just stay tuned. Stay tuned to their Instagram. Follow them right now. Go out there and click on that, because we're gonna get some clean footage. You're gonna be like, oh, share.
I need your help.
Oh, share. Help me out. Look, I saw this. All right, dude. Let's do the Ask the Bros section. So feel free to ask James or myself any question, like business, personal, whatever.
So because I do follow you guys, and you have a very positive outlook and a very eccentric way of speaking, and just compared to just your general peeps. Do you read a lot of books? What do you do to empower yourself?
So yeah, first of all, yes, we read a ton of books. Mostly on audio these days, because driving around, it's just playing. I gotta just continuously listen when I'm running at the gym. But honestly, I gotta give most of the credit for our optimistic point of view to our parents.
Okay.
Like, our parents are some of the most loving, positive people. Like, it's funny because we call ourselves the Fruity Pebbles, because for the longest time, like, we would always go to the store and go to the cereal box, and we'd always get Fruity Pebbles, right? And we thought, yeah, everybody eats Fruity Pebbles, and we found out that almost everybody else eats Cocoa Pebbles. Everybody likes the Cocoa Pebbles, and we're the weird ones. Yeah. My parents are like the Brady Bunch family. Like, they don't smoke, they don't drink, they don't cuss. Like, always happy, perfect people. Like, if perfect existed, that's like close as they would be.
Nice.
And they've always had an optimistic look in life. So I think it started there. And then once we decided that we wanted to be positive people going forward, like, everything we read is like, how do you get better? How do you get better? How do you get better? Like, do bad things happen in the world? Absolutely, they do.
Of course. But
you can dwell on them, or you can take it as a learning experience and try to push forward from there. Right. And me personally, that's my point of view, is I'm always going to try to push forward from there. I acknowledge the things that happen in a negative sense, but I can't control them.
Right.
So I push past them.
So I have another question for you. So what's your guys' vision in 5 years?
Ooh, vision in 5 years. You want to go with that one?
No, actually, I want to, because I'm honestly okay. All right, I'll go with it. So there's a lot of things that I'm looking at, and I'm literally working on what I call my vivid vision right now. It's something that I read that was provided to me by a mastermind group that I'm a part of called Junto.
Oh.
So the vivid vision is a 3-year plan, and it's literally looking at your business and planning out what it's going to look like 3 years from now, how many employees you're going to have, what your actual top line revenue is, what does it look like all the way through top to bottom, every detail, right? Not so much asking how you're going to get there, just what does it look like? And so it's something that I'm still working on. Yeah. But essentially what I envision for my company is the Uber of insurance, where we have so many agents and such a clean system that everybody knows an insurance guy. And he might be your next door neighbor. She might be your Uber driver also, right? You do Uber and you do insurance and you do all this stuff. And we make it so easy for agents to represent us, to represent our company, and to sell insurance that it's just, boom, piece of cake. That's all they want to do. As far as personal life goes and all of that, I have my eye on a particular building directly across the street from Balboa Park called The Park. And I want to live there. You can actually, I found out the other day, you can see it from this window. Right. So if you look really hard through some binoculars, you can see it through the window. And yeah, I mean, that's a really, really deep question for me, and like I get into it. Right.
And the reason why I asked, because those questions I wasn't able to answer it at one point. Yeah. And because, like you said, it's a very deep question, and to me it was like, where do I see myself in 5 years? But because I've got out of my comfort zone and I was able to really see my vision instead of thinking what I wanted, but knowing what I wanted, really helped out to my vision to be completely clear on what to me has value. Mm-hmm. What is value to me? Is value money? Is value what people think of me? Is value a car? But what is truly what value is? And so thanks to the EQ program that I took a part of, which I encourage you guys to even, we'll have this conversation later about that. It really, really helped give me the tools to make my decision with my heart instead of my mask, to know exactly what true value is. And so my vision now is happiness and prosperity, and that goes along the lines of my business and everything that I love dearly. Mm-hmm. And so I know what my vision is, and I'm going to obtain it because I have goals. I have people that support me. I have people that hold me accountable. I have to hold myself accountable, and I have to be responsible for stuff that I'm in control of, that I made a mistake on, and responsibility and accountability. And so my vision is completely clear. And so I always ask, what's your vision? Because I want to support your vision.
Yeah, no, 100%. For me, I've been working on my own long-term vision for a personal thing. Because I know financially where I want to be. My financial is pretty basic. I want to pay off my house. Yeah. And that's and I want to finish my backyard. Simply put, that's all I personally need financially. Do I want more? Of course I want more. But as for me, that's all I need. Now, as far as like my purpose in this world, like my vision of where I want to be, I want, when I pass away, I want to have 10,000 people at my funeral. Yeah. That means I've made an impact in that many lives. So one of the influencers that I follow is Gary Vee, right? And I like listening to Gary Vee for two reasons. One is he thinks and says a lot of the things in the way I think. I just didn't always say them. I said them to people in my own private world, and they would always say, dude, you're an asshole. Right? I get that. I would get that a lot in my own little group, right. But I never really had the courage to say those types of things in public. And so when I heard him come out, I was like, that's what I'm thinking. That's exactly how I say it. Like I say that all the time. And there's simple answers, because the answers to a lot of things in life are very simple. So I want to get to the point where in 5 years, you were talking about, I want to get to a point in 5 years where when people see me, they have a question. Yeah. And I can provide them an answer that is valuable. Right. And so if I can get to that point, then I'll reach my goal of having 10,000 people at my funeral, right. Because I've shared enough information consistently on a regular basis that has been helpful, that has been of value.
Right. That's powerful. That's right there. That's like legacy. It's legend. It's like you have made an impact so much that people will always remember you. Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
That's the goal.
Yeah, that's an awesome goal.
Have you discovered your why?
No.
I just did. Like, I'm telling you, like, honestly, because I would function where I knew I wanted to get things done. Yeah. But again, that's like a ship leaving the harbor without a destination, right? So I had to try to figure out my why, and I finally nailed it down. For me, it's I want to help you become a better you. Yeah. So you find purpose and happiness. Right. Right. And so, and become a better you is BABY. So I want to help you, baby. Right? That's how it comes down to. So,
baby.
right? So that's my why. I want to help you become a better you. And I do that every single day, whether it's meeting people in person where we sat at the beach, whether it's meeting guests on the podcast, whether it's in the classroom with my students. That's what I want to do. I want to help you become a better you. I want to listen to your story. And then if there's something that I can bring of value, I'll drop in my 2 cents and share it with you. And hopefully it clicks and it's something that helps you out. And if it doesn't, well, at least we got to meet and sit down and listen to each other, right? So that's what I love to do. And hopefully, like I said, I get to the point where I do that every single day, one person at a time, one guest at a time, one student at a time. And then before you know it, like everywhere I go, people want that just to, listen to me.
Right. And
everybody wants to be heard.
Yeah, of course. And then even though like you may think that someone might not be listening to you, subconsciously they are, because they're words they probably haven't heard. Like some people don't even have. I remember I was doing pest control at a house, and that guy was telling me like, oh, I don't like killing bugs. And I'm like, oh, this is a preventative measure. I just kind of give him a rundown on what I do and what my intentions are. And then along the lines of like, he was talking about self-worth. I'm like, dude, you're worth every single cent of everything. Your being is a powerful being, and you're worth every penny. You're worth you loving yourself. And he's like, dang, no one said that to me. And I gave him that inspiration he needed. Well, I gave him the tools. I asked him questions and made him realize that, dang, I am powerful. I'm like, hell yeah, you are, bro.
This is why sharing to me is so important, right? Yeah. Like I am a sponge when it comes to information. I take in a lot of stuff and I say a lot of things. My wife always makes fun of me. She's like, you heard that in a movie or you heard that in a book. And that's true, right? Like I don't think I have an original thought in my head. Right. But the difference is I know when I'm going to say it. I know like a situation presents itself and I have the perfect line for it. I know exactly what to say in that moment. Like it comes to me that way. Right. And for a long time I thought, that's whack. Like that's cliche. Yeah. But Jose, Visionary Media, shout out to you. He's got a coach and I was listening to his coach's YouTube stuff. And one of the things he said was, it's not, you need to keep saying your message when you say it, because the person who hears it and it clicks for them, they may have heard it before, but maybe you were the messenger that they needed to hear from. Yeah. So it's like with my wife, I tell her, don't do that. You should do this. You should do this. You should do this. But because it's me telling her, she's never going to listen. But then somebody else tells her the same exact advice, and all of a sudden it clicks for her. Because that person was the messenger that needed to make the message. Right. And so, just speak your truth. Be who you are. Yeah. Even if it's a combination of everybody who you've come across, everything you've learned, every book you read, that becomes you. Right. Share that message, and the person who needs to hear it is going to hear it at that moment. Yeah, and your intention is everything. Your intentions, your passion comes out behind it. They're like, dang, I never heard it like that. Yeah. You say it with such raw passion. And so I think that's why my business, mine and my partner's business is so good, because our passion is like, you can feel it. They're like, dang, you guys are like, not only you were spending hours there, it's a free inspection, and like the other guy never told me that, or this never happened. And so so it's the passion behind it that people actually see. And so when you're talking about, you tell somebody that and you repeat it, it doesn't matter if you repeat it, because this right here was taught by me. I had the tools to obtain this type of like way of thinking, but this was taught by, I have plenty of coaches right now. I have through my Choice Center, I have plenty of coaches. I have plenty of teammates that hold me accountable. So that right there is a mimic of what they have taught me. I'm just mimicking what they said. And it's something that was taught to them. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. It's a chain. It's a chain. You just got to pay it forward. Yeah. Pay it forward. Man, that was a good show. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Thanks for coming out, Michael. Hey, thank you guys. Ladies and gents, quick reminder, 365 pairs of shoes by the end of the year. So if you have new shoes, used shoes, or you want to donate some cash, hit James up 619-884-0045 or james@csfirst.com. By the way, he does insurance. So if you guys need to add insurance into your particular line of business, maybe you have a business you need some commercial insurance for, hit James up 619-884-0045 or james@csfirst.com. And don't forget to visit dronequotes.net. Remember, you don't want to be sold when you're buying solar, but you do need to buy. So let Drone Quotes be the one who gives you all the quotes. Nobody gets on your roof. No sit down with a bunch of 5-6 different presentations to get quotes. Make it simple. DroneQuotes.net/bizbros. That's BIZBROS. And get yours today. That's all we got for you guys today. Peace. Links in the comments. Bye-bye. And I'm out. That was fun. It's cool, huh? Yeah, man. Bye, Facebook. We love you. Thanks, Facebook. We love you. Bye, Facebook.